we've had some very interesting things, and I absolutely love that man because of his generosity, his total honesty, and this is something that you'll know about this company. I have more friends in this company than I have on the outside. So my best friends are in USANA, not outside somewhere and not around my neighborhood, but they're in USANA. They're my best friends. And if something happened to me, like when I'm 102, maybe I dance and break my hip, I would make one call and any of them, Jim, or any of them would be right there. Kevin Guest right there, Dave there, Dr. Wentz there. Yep. Dr. Wentz was in a room, and I had a titanium stent put in because I ate too much bacon and eggs many years ago. So I had a stent put in one of my arteries, and Dr. Wentz was in the operating room with me. And he was watching my vital signs, breathing, heart rate, and the doctor said, "We want to get a good picture, Dennis, so we can put a good stent in, okay?" I said, "Okay." He said, "Go 1, 2, 3, hold your breath." I went, but he forgot to say exhale. So I was lying there holding my breath, and Dr. Wentz was in the other room, and he says, "He's not breathing, he's not breathing, he isn't breathing." And the doctor said, "Sorry, I forgot to say exhale." And he was so concerned because that's the way he is. A heart as big as the world, thinks much faster than you and I, very fast. He thinks faster than he can speak, which is why he likes me, because I speak slowly. And I'm not a motivational speaker. In fact, it's true. I don't look like a motivational speaker. I don't act like a motivational speaker. And everyone thinks I work at the hotel. No, it's true. You think I'm making the story up. No, you can imagine. Just look at me. I'm in the lobby, right? I wear a black suit and a red tie, and I smile at everyone because smiling lets people know you're okay. Either that or you're weird. So I'm in the lobby of hotels. I'm in Seattle, it's raining, and so I have my umbrella. And a lady comes up to me and says, "Would you please take me to my car?" I said, "What? Where is your car?" She said, "It's across the street." I said, "Oh, okay." Open my umbrella, walk her to her car. She gives me $5. I don't work here. She said, "You look like you do." I said, "I know. I look like I work everywhere." And it happens to me all over the world. Where's the ladies' room? I don't know. Please bring our check. No, I'll get your waiter to bring your check. What time does the next show begin? I'm not sure. That's the way. Remember what she said? Do what I said. Be humble. I'm as good as the best, but no better than the rest. I'm not better than anyone I've ever met. I'm as good as they are, but no better. So I never compare myself with anyone. And I don't believe in status. I believe in process. Success is always under construction, as you know, right? Toll road under construction. And you never arrive. You never want to arrive at success, because then you're king and queen of the mountains. Then you look at other people who are less fortunate and aren't earning as much. And you begin to think you're like a movie star. And pretty soon you buy the stretch limousine. Because you know if you get into the limousine and get out, people will think you're somebody. The truth is anyone can rent a limousine. So that's what you should do. Most of you are fairly young. Let's see, what are you, in your 20s, most of you? So some of you have not been to your 10th high school reunion yet, right? So rent a limo, and everyone will think you're rich and famous already. Or come to your 10th anniversary in a helicopter. It will cost you quite a bit, but they'll still think you're fabulously rich. But your own self-esteem is more important than the stretch of a limousine. Because if you have to stretch your importance in the limousine, that means a small person is riding inside trying to look big. The people that yell are desperate for attention. The people who are the most aggressive are trying to get your attention. And anyone who criticizes you is trying to bring you down to their level. Because only small people criticize other people to make them small in their eyes. From 1933 to about 1943, I thought we were a very low-class family. We were mother and father divorced. My dad died early because smoking, drinking. So he died in my arms when he was 65. 65. I was just getting started. I was worried about my complexion when I was 65. I'm getting some blemishes. And then I became a Navy jet pilot because we were at war with Korea. And so you have to serve if there's a war. So getting catapulted off at night was fun, but it was not my calling. Because like you, something deep inside when I was little made me feel that I was not put on the earth to do something destructive or like everybody else, but I was put on the earth to help other people and to make them more successful and to pass on whatever experience that I had learned to somebody else. So when I got back from the service, I discovered that no American prisoner of war ever escaped from a minimum security camp. This is very important for you in goal setting. So when you're captured by the enemy, they interview you. And the Chinese and the North Koreans were masters at interviewing American Navy pilots and Air Force pilots and people who they captured. And they would ask you questions like I might ask you tonight. Where are you from? What are you going to do when you get home? How much money do you need? What are you going to study? Who's your favorite team? What's your religion? Do you believe in God? And they would ask them these simple questions. If you could not give a specific answer, if you were vague and general, they put you in a minimum security camp. Good food, no guards, no barbed wire, no dogs, no machine guns. And then they were able to manipulate you, which is called brainwashing. Because if you don't know where you're going, any old road will take you there. And if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So unless you have a clear idea of what you want in life, you're easy to bring over to another company. It's called the school of fish approach. Oh, that looks better over there. Oh, they have a magic drink. Oh, you can get rich in 2 months? You mean I can have a Ferrari if I go there? And so people without a firm idea about what they want, where they're going, are put in a minimum security camp. But then there are people like you. So they capture you. Hello, where are you from? I'm from Mindanao. You are, huh? What are you going to do when you get back home? Well, my girl is waiting for me. I'm going to go back to college. I'm going to study pharmacy. Really? You believe in God? Yes, I'm Catholic. Really? What are you fighting for? Freedom? Who's your favorite ball team? In what sport? How much money do you need? At least $1,000 a month. Really? Put them in the maximum security camp. Likely to be a leader, and it causes problems. Anybody that can answer specifically is likely to be a leader because of focus, because of direction. So you want to make sure that you know that you have amounts and dates, because we all procrastinate. And procrastination is a hiding place for perfectionists, which means that when you delay, it's because you're either afraid of failing or afraid of succeeding. And in my case, believe it or not, it was the fear of success. Think about it. We come from poor families. Our families didn't make a lot of money. We've had a tough childhood. What makes you think, me think, that I can be special with that kind of background? So I'm more afraid that I might be successful if I really try, and then what would happen? People would criticize me, especially in my hometown, because they think I'm being selfish by improving, by achieving. One of the hardest things to do is to come away from your neighborhood and get out and up and then help them, because they want you to stay with them, because they don't have a way out. But you have a way out and up, but they don't see it. So they think you're just being a show-off. Look at you. I remember my mother said that to me. My mother never said a positive word in her whole life. That's probably why I'm like I am. I hide in positive things. When I wrote books, she would say, too bad you didn't write one for me, or help me with mine. When I would go to play baseball, she would say, must be nice to be able to play with your friends while I slave at home over your dinner. And I began to think that I wasn't worth it. So there's two things. I wasn't afraid of failure. We were failing comfortably. We were a failing family. It was easy, it was comfortable. But to reach up and out, to get out of that comfort zone is so difficult until you see role models, mentors, coaches, people like you who've done it, and it makes you want it so bad. And the more you get, it's not like drinking salt water. You don't get thirstier. You begin to realize, like an Olympic athlete, that you get in the zone and you learn. So I have a riddle for you. Why do we do what we do when we know what we know? We know we shouldn't smoke, but we do. We know we shouldn't drink because it hurts our liver and we might have an accident. And it also has other problems. We know we shouldn't be angry because it causes stress problems. We know we shouldn't be late. We know we shouldn't do a lot of things, but we are. Why? Because we don't do what we know, we do what we've learned. And we learn by observation, imitation, and repetition. And everything you'll ever be is what you watch, what you listen to, what you read, who your friends are. Look at your friends, you'll see your future. Look at your friends, you'll see your future. Because you will become that to which you're most exposed. It just is the way we are. We observe, we imitate, we repeat, we practice. It becomes like riding a bike or driving your car. Second nature. We become those dominant thoughts. So I had to break out. I was always late. I had a good name for being late, Waitley. No, if you're late, you should call yourself Waitley. I'm Denis Waitley's Waitley, because they waited for me, but they got tired of it. And they said, you don't care for us enough, you don't respect us enough, you don't admire us enough to be on time, do you? Why are you always late, Waitley? I said, I'll change my name to Swiftly. He said, no, I won't do it. What I have to do is what you need to do. Is anything you would like to change, you must understand that habits are submarines, silent and deep. You don't break a habit, you replace it. Well, yeah, you can just stop smoking. No, you must do something else in its place. You're used to going like this, reaching in, doing this, and so you need to do something different. You're used to being late. What do you do in its place? Arrive early. Well, how do you do that? Well, you begin to set up a daily routine of planning ahead, maybe having different plane reservations. And I've learned it took me 1 year to always be early or on time. And I've been on time or early for 50 years. Boom. Never late unless we got into Why do we do what we do when we know what we don't? Because learning takes place quite beyond our knowledge. It's like children catch values. Values are caught, not taught. They watch. They watch parents. They watch role models. They watch MTV. They watch Justin Bieber. They watch Miley Cyrus. They watch Beyonce. And I've learned through these last 50, 60 years, Olympians, what do? They have talent. The coach shows them the correct swing. Then they practice and practice and practice. But every time they make a mistake, how do you do it right next time? What's the answer? What are we going to do next time? Always moving in the direction of the desired result. Never looking back at what went wrong, because if you look back at what went wrong, you'll keep going there. But if you take what went wrong and make it a correction, a desired result, you'll move there. You always move in the direction of your currently dominant thoughts. So I tried with young people in the United States, you know, they said, we don't pay any attention to the lyrics. I said, yes, you do. You just don't know you do. They say, no, we don't, commercials don't work for us. I said, they don't, huh? It was $5 million for 30 seconds at the Super Bowl. Why would they pay that much? They said they wasted their money. I said, no, they didn't. They know that repetition leads to a decision to buy. So here's what I did with American teenagers. And I want to do it with you because it's kind of fun. It's called The Joke is on Us. Say the word joke out loud. Joke. Spell it. J-O-K-E. Say it again. Joke. Spell it. J-O-K-E. Say it once more. Joke. Spell it. J-O-K-E. What do you call the white part of an egg? Yolk. No, that's the yellow part. The white part is egg white. Did you know all over America, the young people say yolk all over. And just like that, I said, wow, let me ask you something else. I said, let me look at your driving. And I asked them to say POTS. They spelled it, P-O-T-S, P-O-T-S, P-O-T-S. Only 3 times. I said, what do you do when you come to a green light? They say, stop. I said, why would you stop when it's green? They said, we didn't want to. I said, I know you didn't, but you did because you're reflexed. You listen to me say POTS, and it doesn't matter whether it's backward or forward. When you repeat something, you have an immediate response to the repetition. So I tried it at Microsoft with Bill Gates. We were talking to Bill Gates, who looked like an older Harry Potter. So I said, sir, you're the wealthiest man in the world. Say the word silk. He said silk, S-I-L-K. Silk, S-I-L-K, silk, S-I-L-K. I said, what do cows drink? He said milk. I said, no, they drink water. He said, no, but calves drink milk. And I said, I didn't say calves, and I said cows. He said, it sounded reasonable with the software you gave us. I said, no, I said, what do cows drink? And he said milk because it rhymed with silk, and it's just one of those things in life. So be careful. Be careful about your observations. Be careful about the pollution that you put in your mind. Be careful what you read, watch, listen to, and be a little more clear about what your children are being subjected to. It's mastery. It is called neuroscience. And neuroscience is the ability to get you to buy into what somebody is saying by having an emotional trigger and a visual trigger that makes you really want to buy it. So that's part of it. So in training Olympians, we use a form of psycholinguistics. And psycholinguistics means mind talk. And mind talk is cognitive reconstruction by saying things that may not yet be true. I eat lean source protein. Water is my favorite fitness drink. I eat only when I'm hungry. I put my fork down between bites. I chew my food thoroughly. dessert, fruit once in a while. And you begin to say things to this marvelous brain of yours, and the brain is listening very carefully, and it begins to record. And a new software program is put inside based upon who you're listening to, who you're with, what you're saying, what you're thinking. But thoughts are not words. Words inspire thoughts. Words can influence thoughts, but thoughts are visual and emotional. And so you and I are more influenced by pictures and emotions than we are with just the words. But words can trigger tremendous emotions. If I said the big long snake slithered across the floor and up the back of your chair, there's a mouse on the floor. All the words that you can say trigger an automatic response in the body because of visual images and emotions that you've stored there based upon experience before. So if you're an Olympian, which you all are, Olympian within,
yes,
find a coach and mentor who's done what you want to do. Emulate, learn, repeat, repeat, make a mistake. That's not like you, you're better than that. Just remember, like you said, failure is the fertilizer of success. You don't like it, it doesn't smell good, but failure is the fertilizer of the future. So every failure is a learning experience. Every failure is a temporary inconvenience. It's a detour, not a dead end. A failure is not a person. A failure is an event. And you never want to associate yourself with failure, because the fear of failure can as easily become the fear of success. If I am successful, I'll have to set an example. I'll have to go to Cannes, I'll have to go to Tahiti, I'll have to do all these things, I'll have to dress better, and everyone will be envious, and they may make fun of me. And you begin to hold back, knowing that if you did just a little more, and were just a little more positive, you'd get there. I remember I was a campaign manager for Ronald Reagan when he was running for president in California. And he became president probably because he spoke well and looked well. And whatever reason he became president, but I asked him when he became president of the United States, how does it feel to be the most powerful man in the world right now? And he said, a little frightening. I said, how so? And he said, is anyone totally prepared for what they sell themselves into? In other words, you must project yourself into the future so that when you arrive there, you're comfortable. If you go there in the mind, when you go there in the body, it will feel good. If you go there in the body, but you haven't been there in the mind, it will feel like you shouldn't be there. And you will only have temporary success because it will be really not you, because it's uncomfortable. So those are some of the things. So with Olympians, I teach them trigger words. Speed, power, explode, extend, rotate, plant the feet, just like drill. I'm a winner. Breathing relaxed, heart rate slow, just like practice. This is your moment in history. Need a 10, got a 10. Let's go. Why would you ever tell yourself or your children what you didn't want them to do unless it was imminently dangerous? The only time to use fear is to keep someone from getting hurt. But the rest of the time you use desire, incentive, reward, targets. A fear is a goal in the opposite direction. It's a goal nonetheless because it's the dominant thought that keeps dwelled upon. So if you're thinking about where you're going in life, the reason we have pin levels is because when you climb a mountain, you need a foothold and a handhold. And so you go gold. And then you move up to ruby, and then you go up to emerald. And then you get to diamond, you say, I'm here. But then you realize you can keep on growing and going, and it isn't, all it is part of the journey. It's a process, not a status. It's just part of the journey up. It doesn't matter what you've done before.
Correct.
So I've talked a lot longer than I thought I would, but I wanted you to know that in working with the astronauts, they pretend. I mean, can you just imagine? It was so much fun when Neil Armstrong was being put on top of that big Redstone rocket. I like to make jokes. So we said, we're going to shoot you up, as you know, 500,000 miles up and back in something built by the government. In fact, by the lowest bidder in the government. We were going to send a chimpanzee, but because of animal rights, we're sending you. And then he said, will you bring me home? And they said, of course. It's the way we planned it all these years. Everything was first a thought, except that which is made by God. That which is made by God is all of the natural world. But every man and every woman with an imagined thought turns that into something material. You know that. The law of attraction takes action. So thoughts do become things. So make sure your thinking is very focused and very specific. I know how much money I need to live the rest of my life without depending on my children and grandchildren. I know how much that is in the amount, because sometimes I was tough on my children and I don't want them to put me in an old person's home as their revenge on me. So my reason for becoming financially independent is to live in dignity, not to depend on someone else, to stay as healthy as I can, to help as many people as I can, and watch my children and grandchildren enjoy earning. Do you think I'll help them if something's wrong? Instantly. Do you think if they get sick, I'll jump in? Of course I will. But I am not going to make it so that they don't ever have to do anything like I did or like we did. Because that's one of the greatest thrills in life, is to be empowered rather than entitled.
Correct.
So you will find me for the rest of my life. I'm going to walk my great-granddaughter down the aisle. When she's 25, I'll be 100. So I'll be 100 when she's getting married. I've already talked to her father and said I'm going to walk her down the aisle to make sure that I'm there when she's getting married. And that's one of my goals.
Wow.
One of my goals is, because my uncle in England's 104.
Whoa.
And he broke his hip dancing. To go visit him, but his attitude is so unbelievable. He says, Dennis, good to see you. Let's go down to the pub. I said, do you mean to say that you're 104 because of drinking? He said, no, I just go down to play darts. It's a half-hour walk that keeps me alive.
Wow.
The last thought is, the company is real. In 2017, we'll have the 25th anniversary of USANA.
Wow. Wow.
Everyone in the company is committed to your success, your children's success, your grandchildren's success. This company will outlive all of us, and that you can be secure that it's not just another one of those opportunities that come and go. So I want to thank you for listening to someone who, an astronaut, remember, going someplace dangerous, no one's gone there before. An Olympian trying to be the best at what he and she does, but not to beat them, not really. It's to see how good you are against world-class standards. So when you see a star diamond, you're not trying to be a 2-star because they're a 1-star. You're just trying to see how good you are against a world-class standard of excellence.
Correct.
So it really isn't competition after all. It's just a way of keeping us honest in our own journey in life. An astronaut, someplace new and dangerous. An Olympian, someplace exciting. And a prisoner of war, trying to get home if you're a leader, and not caring if you're not. The people in the minimum security camp were diseased. They put each other out to freeze to death in the snow, and their disease and death rate was twice as high as the leaders because the leaders wanted to get home to you, and the other ones didn't know and didn't care that much, and they were just trying to wait it out. You're my Olympic heroes, and I hope I can keep coming back to watch all of your success.
Wow.
Thank you.
Grabe,
a microphone is like an ice cream cone. Keep looking at it and keep talking to it, but I appreciate your attendance and your attention.
Wow!
Can you spare us a few minutes to have a couple of questions?
Sabog,
That's why I
sabog.
talk so much, because then I only answer a couple because I don't know that much. I only know what I said.
So anybody in the audience who has questions? Not too personal.
Wait lang.
though.
Sab.
Well, I guess everyone's very strong. Yes.
Hello, sir. I'm just really curious. As a parent, I have 3 kids. How did you, what do you call this? How did you raise up your children with your principles?
Well, first thing I did is they always said, "May I please?" They always said, "Thank you." They always were courteous to other people, and they never whined. They didn't throw tantrums, because I've learned something. Behavior always follows the attention paid to it. So when they were very naughty, I didn't give them almost any attention at all. I didn't reward them. So when they began to fuss, I did not put something sweet in their mouth. Instead, I began to isolate them and say, you know, next time we'll be quiet together. So I tried to encourage them and not to punish them, because I know that punishment is also a form of attention. And so some children learn to get attention from their parents, even if it's punishment, because at least they've gotten their attention. So I just tried to set an example of opening car doors, being nice to the waiter, and treating a taxi driver like a transportation executive, and never feeling superior to anyone.
Boom.
Any questions, Bob? Sir, would you like to come over a bit?
I'm not sure if it's
Good evening, sir. I was really inspired by your talk. I want to ask a question. You said earlier that for 25 years, you've not been angry for quite some time. I want to ask a question. How do you control that emotion with so many things happening that are unpredictable, like traffic and weather? How are you able to control your emotions to stay where you want to be all the time?
Well, I use the serenity prayer, but I put it in the form of a seminar. So I accept the unchangeable, I change the changeable, and remove myself from the unacceptable. So what I do is, everything that has happened to me is history. I cannot change that, but I can only change my response and my attitude toward everything that happens. So when things happen immediately, I begin to take a deep breath, and I begin to feel anger, and then I say, wait a minute, just relax here. And so I get out of me, and when I begin to feel either anger or sadness, I help somebody less fortunate than me and get out of me and into them. And because I spend so little time thinking about myself, truly, I don't have any problems, because I'm so busy trying to help other people that my problems they don't seem to be big at all. So yes, every once in a while, I will begin to feel that, because it's a natural response. But what can we do about traffic? You know, we're in China, And Chinese, more than Filipinos, the Chinese have discovered that the horn is something you must use every second. And they buy the car because of the type of horn it has. So you have 200,000 people bumper to bumper for 4 hours in China. Ferrari, Bentley, and all these cars, and they keep honking. And I said, you know, you're not going anywhere. So maybe you should listen to some music or CDs or MP3s or something. And they said, no, a stupid guy won't get out of the way. I said, we solved that in America. They said, how? I said, we have guns. They're good. Guns are not good. But I think being able to change what I can, like Dr. Wentz will not go into a place where they're smoking. And he'll go into a restaurant and look around, and if he doesn't like it, he'll walk out. And I said, but I'm hungry. He said, it's too noisy. We're out. And if they have the music too loud, he'll ask them to turn it down. It makes me embarrassed. Because it's a sports bar, baby. But I think changing the changeable, whatever you have control of, you change. Whatever you don't have control of, you learn to accept. And then if it gets to be something you cannot tolerate, you remove yourself from that if you possibly can. But anger is one letter short of danger. Anger with the D on it is danger, and that's why it's really better to go out and work out. Hit the pavement with your feet, hit a tennis ball, racquetball, and get the adrenaline out rather than to another person. Because what I've learned with my children and other people is you can never take back the anger, the look, the thing you did instantaneously that was so powerful, that was even stronger than any words you could say with just a word or just a look. So I think you just learned a relaxation technique.
Thank you very much. We still have more questions. Wait, no problem. Let's have the person in the back.
You may not have enough words.
Hi sir, since we have only few time to learn from you, I'd just like to ask you, since you have read a lot of hundreds of books, and I'd really like to take note of this. What are the 3 books that made the biggest impact in your life? So that we can also read it.
What 3 books?
Yes.
Well, obviously, the New Testament. It would be number 1. And I read the Old Testament too to see the history of religions, but that's so difficult because I read a book every week.
Boom.
I have since I've been 8 years old. So but the reason I read is because it takes you where you can't go in person. It means you don't have to make the same mistake the author did. And so when you read biographies, so the thing I do is I read biographies of people who've overcome enormous handicaps to become successful. Then I realize that they overcame so much more than I, that what am I waiting for? So I almost exclusively read biographies of people who come from nowhere to somewhere. But I don't have one specific book, and I don't promote my own. Because the 16 books I have written are the same book with the new cover.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Give it up for Dr. We'll be hearing more of him tomorrow at the Alameda Coliseum. Indeed, the wait is over. We're very blessed to